Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel again. Whether you're a regular viewer or a new viewer, me and Nick are out today on the local club lake, hopefully going to be bagging up on some silverfish. And there's also a few carp been showing signs of, so we're going to do that. In this video today, we're going to show you everything from the basic skills of pole fishing, from plumbing up and what rigs to use, to more complex skills like feeding. Without further ado, let's get to it. Also guys, make sure to subscribe to our channel if you're not already, because it means so much to me and Nick and help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. Also, feel free to comment and ask any questions and we'll try and get back to you ASAP. Now let's get fishing. We will be showing you multiple different things such as rig choice, bait choice and different feeding techniques to hopefully help you put more fish on the bank. Also, stay tuned to see us catch some really nice fish. Now, on to the most important thing in my opinion about pole fishing, and that's plumbing up and finding the perfect depth to where the fish want to be. So in these wintry conditions where the water's quite cold, you want to be right on the bottom where the fish are. But in the summer, the fish come shallower because it's warmer, and when it's warmer you can fish shallow for them in mid-water. So let's plumb up now. This is a plumber. It's just a small weight that attaches to your hook on the bottom of your pole rig. It's used to indicate if your float is too shallow or if it's too deep. If it's too shallow, the float will pull under, and if it's too deep, the float will stay up on the surface. So let's do that now. So you just lower your plumber in, attached to your pole rig, nice and gently. And now, if it goes under like this, it means it's too shallow. So what we want to do is take the float back out and then just deepen it a little bit. Maybe do it at 1 or 2 inch intervals so it's nice and accurate. And then we go back in, lower it in nice and gently again. And same again, that's too shallow. So we're just going to deepen it by about 1 inch again, and then we go back out, lowering it in gently again, and as you can see, that's slightly over depth. So we'll come back in, and the perfect depth is to have the bristle just poking out the water. So we're going to shallow that up maybe 1/2 inch or so, and then we'll go back out again. And there, perfect, just the bristle sticking out. Once you've plumbed up and found the perfect place where you want to fish, you want to find something called a far bank marker, which is a solid object or a place on the far bank which you can line up and ship out to each time. So we'll do that now and give you some examples of it. So we're going to ship out your desired length of pole, whether it be 8 metres or 12 metres. I'm fishing at 12 metres today. So we're going to ship out nice and smoothly, and then once we've shipped out, as you can see on the far bank, there's a bit of a hole. My far bank marker is the furthest point to the right of that hole. So I'm going to line up now, dropping gently. Every time you ship out, you're going to be lining up with your far bank marker. Some examples of far bank markers are like trees or wheels, but don't use moving objects such as birds, swans or cows, anything like that. Moving on to the finer tactics and rigs, which makes the biggest difference in pole fishing. Today I'm using this 5 elastic, which is nice and soft for the silverfish I'm going to be catching. But in the summer months, when you're targeting species such as carp or tench, you need a thicker elastic such as number 11 or 14. Now, onto this little connector thing, it's called a dacron connector, and you can either use one of these or a pole elastic connector. Now I like dacron connectors because I think you're more in contact with the pole float and connect to more bites. Now let's move on to the rig. Onto the rig itself, it consists of 4 pounds supernatural N-gauge with these 2 number 8 back shots, which is just to hold the float in these windy conditions. And the float I'm using is a 0.15 gram F1 slim style float. So that means it's got a nice slim style body and it's easy detectable of bites. And this is down to a tapered bulk of number 8s, and then onto 4 inches of 3 pound supernatural N-gauge to a tiny size 16 F1 maggot, perfect for 1 or 2 maggots. I would stay away from baits such as pellets and maybe use baits such as worms and maggots, which is much more varied in what you're going to catch. You could catch any species and you're not being selective of what you want to catch. But if you're more advanced, you can use baits such as pellets or sweet corn and maybe target those bigger fish. Now onto hook baits. I'm using these maggots because the water is very clear and cold, and these are just inconspicuous and very natural. And today I'm feeding this over this groundbait mix, which is a mixture of a dark groundbait with some hempseed in. But in the summer months you can use lighter coloured groundbaits and a lot more flavours, such as coconut, and that is very good for drawing the fish into your swims. Most important thing when pole fishing is to get your feeding right, and today I'm feeding groundbait and fishing maggots over the top. For just the purposes of this video, I put the bucket on my side tray. I'm going to show you how I load my pole cups. So when I want the bait sinking to the bottom, I'm going to squeeze it in a nice firm ball, and then that sinks to the bottom and stays on the bottom, leaving no cloud through the water. So with the pole pot, we're going to ship out nice and smoothly, making sure we're not going to spill any of the bait. And we're going to ship out to your full length and then line up with the far bank marker just like you would with your rig. So we're going to ship fully out and then line up with the far bank marker again, and nice and easily bring the pole pot to the water and then gently turn it over and lift out with it being emptied. Now you can loose feed over the top of your pole float as well. So up to about 7 or 8 meters, you can just throw the bait with your hand and just make a nice spread of them so it looks very natural. But on longer distances, you have to use this called a catapult. And with a catapult, what your body naturally wants to do is pull it back like a loaded weapon. So it's not a smooth action at all. But what you want to do is push the body and frame of the catapult away from yourself. So it's one smooth action. And with the catapult, you want to grip it in your less dominant hand on the handle. And then with this hand on the pole, you just pull back the elastic and then feed it nice and accurately. So there's a nice spread of bait around your pole rig. Nicks into a fish on the waggler. It looks like something decent. Wow, look at that. Let's go and see what he's got. What a beautiful roach for Nick. This is our haul from today. I've had quite a few. Some nice roach and rudd. I'm going to give them a quick weigh, see what they weigh. Now, some venues allow you to use a keep net and some don't, so check with the rules first before you do. Let's get these few roach in and put them on the scales. Now that is 2 pounds 3 ounces. Some beautiful roach and some beautiful rudd. Lovely silver roach and rudd. Now guys, thanks for watching if you've got this far, and please subscribe, it would really help us out. See you in the next one.